You're listening to Mr. Allard's Neighborhood. Small town feel with big time ideas. After all, you are entitled to Brad's opinion. Here's your host, Brad Allard.
Well, hello. Very wet morning this morning. How about you, Josh? You get a lot of rain?
Oh, yeah. No, it was terrible.
Well, we got standing water in our yard, and that's unusual. But today, we have Sarah Kyle Ross of the Kindred Montessori Academy, and sooner or later on the show, she's going to sing us the school song.
We need to write one.
Whatever. But anyway, it's a very interesting concept because I'm a former educator and all this, but I never really dealt with, fortunately, pre-K through kindergarten, which I can't even imagine myself doing that. Neither could any student I've ever had. But we've had some quite a bit of interest in this, okay, because Montessori education's been around for quite some time now. But I don't know if Burleson's ever had it. So we're going to talk all about that. And
Wonderful.
How you got started, your background, where they can reach you, things of that nature. But before we jump in, let's get to the business taken care of. We need to talk about our sponsors.
Yeah.
All right, you probably know some of these. You know Our Place. Everybody knows Our Place. Who doesn't know Our Place, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and he also has that one on Crowley. I don't know if you saw it as you were driving by. Did you come in down Main Street off the Crowley Road?
The new one.
Yeah. Some people come in from the west, but anyway, you come in from the east, you drive right by it, and it's a smaller version of Our Place, but it's still just as good. Also, Gina's Pizza, which is really a great place to go do business. That's where I do business. I like going there in the afternoons because it's quiet. Not that that's because nobody. It's not because nobody's there. It's mid-afternoon, and you can have a beer and watch ball game and have a little pizza. It's not a bad day. So it's a great thing to do. Have you been to Gina's yet?
I haven't. We'll have to go try that.
You're going to have to go try it. All right. They also have subs, and they have salads, and it's a couple of pastas. It's not strictly just pizza, but I go in there and I want this, but I'd rather have this. And it's a lot of decision making. Man, I can't handle it. But anyway. Also, I bet you were glad if you called Old Pro Roofing before to this morning with John Williams at 817-734-2756. When it was raining this morning, coming down pretty hard, I didn't worry because John Williams had inspected my roof about a month ago, and he said I was good to go. So I get your roof inspected annually, and if you had some problems, so you've noticed a leak, and John is the man you want to talk to. Local folks. They're not guys that drive by in a truck and try to sell you on something. You know where they're at. They're over here in Old Town. So, sorry. John Williams, 817-734-2756. And my old buddy, Jeff Kelly, 817-781-0546. You want to get rid of that leaky old house, he'll sell it for you and sell you another one here in the Johnson County area. At Jeff at jeffkellyrealty.com or 817-781-0546. He's the expert in real estate in this area. He sells not just Burleson, but all over Johnson County. So if you're moving out in the country, you're moving to Joshua, Godly, whatever, you're good to go with Jeff. Also, Local Life Magazine comes out at the beginning of the month, so you should have yours. I'm not quite sure what the next episode, what am I saying? The next copy will be for next month, next edition, but she'd be a good one to talk to about promotion.
We've talked to them.
Have you really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, because they target their audience, and so they're going to even be expanding the number of people they're going to reach. So they're going to even more than what you had before. Plus, she does social media work and stuff like that. So
yeah.
All right.
They're great people.
Yeah. I've known Tiffany for a little while now, and I think she's a really, really smart young woman. So there you go. Also, a friend Al at Bass Printing and Consulting, you need some promotional items. You can do it, hats and cups and shirts and pins and you name it. You can stamp your logo on it or whatever. I use them for my mailers and business cards, and he does a lot of that. So you can contact him at 817-616-8761 or at Alric, that's ALRICK, at bassprinting.com. He's over here in the hub, so he's a local guy too. That's what I like to do, is local business. And I think we have one more. Yeah, this is it. Our friends over at Station 330 are doing a special promotion. I'm going to just read the email because I got this about an hour ago. But we all are aware of what happened down in the Hill Country, and he wants to do a fundraiser for them. I'm just going to read it straight up this time because it's, like I said, I just got it about an hour ago, and Jesse over at over at the Station 330. Was very glad to have it put on the podcast. It says, on July 4th, devastating floods impacted communities across central Texas, including our neighbors in Kerr County. Many families lost homes, belongings, and stability overnight. And that's true. We have had several Burleson people that have known people, relatives even, that have suffered in this flood. At Station 330, we believe in showing up when it matters most. That's why we're proud to announce a Give Back campaign in support of the Kerr County Flood Relief Fund. From July 10th, what's the day? The 14th? Okay, so they've been doing this a little while, to August 9th, so you got like almost a full month. We will match every dollar you donate, doubling the impact of generosity. Okay, so basically you could stop by Station 330 to donate in person, enjoy a great meal, and be part of something meaningful. You'll have the opportunity to donate $5, $10, or $50 when you pay your dine-in check. Ask your server for details. So basically you can put it on your tab, and they'll match whatever you put on that donation. So $5 is $10, right? And it's a really great thing. You can also donate when you order online at station330.com/takeout/. Okay, thank you, Jesse, over at the 330, because that's a great restaurant anyway. So that's a reason enough to go over there. But this is even a big, better reason too, to do good, not just to do well, but to do good. Which you hope to do both, right?
Yes, absolutely.
First thing, the thing about you're starting this new educational opportunity, this new foundation, or whatever you want to call it, this academy. The first thing that people are going to ask is about you, not just your curriculum, not just about your facilities, but they're going to ask about you because, they're trusting their children.
Yeah.
And if you are the mother of a kindergartner, unless it's your fifth kindergartner, moms are paranoid. All right. So,
yes, we are concerned. Yes.
Yeah,
we love our kids.
Yeah. And so, I mean, if the fifth or sixth one, I'll see you later. But no, but it's the first or second one. I remember when my kids are going into pre-K and kindergarten and all this other stuff, my wife is going through a lot of hand-wringing, and I'm like, it's okay, it's not, we're not sending them to Afghanistan, we're sending them to First Baptist, whatever. So,
right.
Or Holy Cross, things like that. So it wasn't that big a deal. So, so tell me about yourself first, your educational background.
Yeah, so I'm Sarah Ross, and this is my 15th year in education. I have about a decade of experience or more in the public education realm. I was a traditional teacher first, and then moved into the Montessori environment.
Where were you a teacher first?
Oh man, I've worked everywhere. I feel like in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, south of 20, really. Fort Worth, Crowley ISD. I've worked in Everman. The last year I was working at Harmony Science Academy. It was a great experience for me. I stepped out of the classroom into an interventionist specialist role so that I could work on Kindred. And that was a beautiful experience, and Harmony is a great place to be. So,
was it tough leaving it?
It was. The people there are fabulous, and they're very supportive of me. They knew going into it that I was starting Kindred, and they've been supportive all along the way, and still are. And so it was a great experience, and I developed a lot of really good friendships through that. And it offered me the chance to work on the side on Kindred in a way that I wouldn't have had if I had been in the classroom.
So you got support from your former employer for this.
Oh, absolutely.
That's interesting because some people, not me particularly, but some people might see this as in competition with the ISDs. I don't really look at it like that, because when it comes to pre-K and kindergarten and all this other stuff, Burleson ISD, at least my experience, has a really good program. But there's other really good programs as well that may offer some things that BISD would like to but can't. In other words,
right.
I put my kids in pre-K and kindergarten at Holy Cross, not because I had reservations about BISD, but I wanted a faith-based environment, that kind of thing. And as far as other Montessori approaches, that's not quite the same thing as your standard ISD approach. Right. So in a minute, I'm going to ask you about that, because even if I'm supposedly this well-seasoned educator, I'm still kind of vague on some of the details about it. So you were an interventionist in the previous one. I bet that's going to be helpful. Is this school primarily for a certain type of pre-K, or is it for all general pre-K?
So we're actually opening up classrooms for toddlers pre-K and kinder, and then first, second, and third grade.
Ooh, I did not know you were going that high. I thought it was
Yes.
first grade was your top end.
No, we do have a toddler class available, an early childhood class available, and an elementary classroom available as well. For this school year, we're accepting any from those ranges. Now, as an educator and with the best interest of children in mind, I'm not going to open an elementary classroom with only 2 children. So, because socially, that's not what's best for them.
What is the minimum number?
5.
5
is
yeah.
what I would like to have, so that
Okay.
they can be developed and well socialized and supported amongst peers and the teachers also. Really, in a Montessori environment, you want about 8 to 10 is a good range for the flow of the classroom to go well and for children to work comfortably. Anything less than that, and it doesn't support in the same way. And then Montessori environments can go up to 20 and still have the same type of environment. But with our classroom sizes are small. And so really between 10 and 12 is about what we're going to be inviting into the classrooms.
That's another reason why I thought Holy Cross might be a good deal. Not that again, I don't want to in any way imply that BISD was
Right.
insufficient, but it was a smaller class. I think their classes are about 10, and it was a smaller campus environment.
Right.
And it was worth it to us.
Sure.
But as far as going from pre-K to 3, that's or third grade. I mean, you're gonna need some staff, I guess, and then working through that,
yeah.
and all that. And and that's the hardest part of putting it together because you have to go through the staff and you have to go find the right person, and it's kind of tough. And they're going to probably have to be in a certain position in life, shall we say, to be able to do this because they could probably make more money in a typical school. And that kind of thing. So then it needs to be somebody that is really doing it as a labor of love, shall we say.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
as far as the facilities, it's with First Christian Church, but it's not really with them. It's in the facility. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
Okay.
We are utilizing their learning center space as well as the Family Life Center, which is their gym that they have. And we are partnering with them in the sense of we get to use their facility and the playgrounds, and even to the extent of supporting their environments, making them beautiful and things like that. And then as well as the children and the teachers and I will put on community events and, of course, invite the church to those, as well as my hope is to do some kind of end-of-the-year celebration and invite the church family as well.
Right.
They've been very supportive already and have just come alongside us and loved us a lot.
I want to make sure to say this correctly. It's not like private Christian school, but it is not going to be in any way whatsoever in conflict with faith-based operations.
Correct.
Okay, because
Correct.
it's not like Holy Cross.
Right.
All right, but it is an environment in which it's going to be a safe environment. It's going to be a positive environment. It's going to be a supportive of the faith environment. Even if the lessons are going to be, you're not going to be doing Bible studies and stuff like that. But you will.
Right.
It is going to be in an environment where faith is both encouraged and supported.
Correct. Absolutely. You said that wonderfully.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So we're not going to have weekly chapel or weekly Bible study. We won't have a Bible study curriculum like you would see at a typical Mother's Day Out program. However, if a child comes to me or comes to their teachers with questions or wonderings, and we've been encouraged by the families to support them, then we're open to doing that. But this is always going to be something that we communicate with families about and ask them what they would prefer and respect their boundaries and faith-based decisions.
I would imagine most people that would access this school, though, have some affiliation with faith.
Yeah.
All right. Not necessarily a member of that church, but maybe not even a member of a church, but they probably have a part of the reason, I guess,
Right.
they chose y'all is because of that environment. It's a safe environment.
Right.
It's not like BISD. They come in at first grade and they teach you all this DEI stuff or whatever, gets people's hair pulled. But
Right.
But it's still, as a public school teacher, there were more than one occasion where I thought I'd like to share with some student, but I knew what my responsibilities were and my
Right.
boundaries were. And if I ever did share with a student, it would be at their request, off hours, many times, after school, before school, and only with the understanding that there are boundaries. I can't do this in a classroom,
Right.
or during lunchtime or whatever, because there are boundaries.
Yes.
And I respect them and whatnot. But as far as this whole idea at the church, how did you get connected to the First Christian?
So back in the last summer, I was posting on social media quite often, looking for a space, and a contact of mine called me back in October and said, hey, my mother's church they had a childcare facility, or they have one. They had a childcare there, and they're closing it down, and they are opening up to rent their facility to someone else. Would you like me to let them know that you're available? I'm like, absolutely, of course I do, please. So she let her mom know and the church know, and I was able to go in very recently after that, like just a couple of weeks, to do a proposal to the church, explain our philosophy, our mission, how I plan to develop the school, what benefits I saw the community receiving because of Kindred Montessori Academy. And after that proposal, they accepted my proposal and invited me in to come and rent the facility.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure they've been great partners.
Fabulous.
Yeah, and it's a good thing, because the thing about it is, as this community grows, the number of families with small children really is growing, and it's really putting pressure on a lot of facilities.
Yes.
Okay. I've talked to a couple other people, not in the last week or so, but over the last couple of months, and and they talk about all the numbers coming in, and how many of them are families moving here for the school systems. And I say that plural because we have 3 really besides yours. We also have Holy Cross. We also have Course BISD, and then we have the Nazarene group that's right down the street, and they have a lot of Burleson people in it, and so. That's so there's a lot of options for families, and they're moving here. Jeff will tell you this. Well, they're moving here. First thing is schools. Second thing is police. Third thing is amenities like Gina's Pizza and stuff like that. And so that's a big deal. And there's our friend Aaron Nash from Cleveland. He chimes in pretty regularly. So thank you, Aaron.
Awesome.
As far as what you're offering that's different than BISD, we're offering a Montessori education, which I'm only really vaguely aware of because, again, I've never had any experience with pre-K or anything like that. What is distinctive about Montessori?
So Montessori education is basically, when you think of in a traditional classroom, the manipulative part of the classroom. All of the lessons have some development of manipulation with them. But the core philosophy of Montessori is to teach children independence, coordination, order. So it's to teach a child how to do something for themselves and to be respectful of their environment and to honor what's going on with themselves in their learning, but also with others in their environment as well.
It sounds like what my kids went through at Holy Cross. I mean, there was a lot of physical manipulation of things, and as opposed to, just make sure you color in between the lines.
Right, or sit and get.
Sit and get, I mean, they'd have maybe story time or something like that,
Sure.
but it was not a passive education, I'll put it that way. But Montessori, this has been around a long time. If I believe it was started by an Italian woman.
It was.
It was about a century ago, almost.
Yeah, 1920s, 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was, revolutionary for the time. But, a lot of schools incorporate that even at the levels I was teaching at. Now, I was teaching AP and all this, and so it was a lot more grinding through the material and
Right.
a lot less, manipulation of things. But, but there was an emphasis on interaction and movement
Right.
within the classroom, which is a risk sometimes,
Yeah.
But as far as it was the old sit and get. They tried to incorporate as much as possible, collaborative work and things of
Yes.
that nature. AP made that kind of tough because we had a really hard test to prepare for, so we had to grind through, like I said, real quickly sometimes. But in the non-AP classes, I was able to do more, not just projects, but just do stuff that fit their skill interests.
That's the most important part about Montessori is that we, as teachers, we are looking for what the child is interested in and supporting their development through those lessons and through those types of curriculum. A child is still going to learn what they need to learn throughout the academic curriculum, but we try to develop those lessons to really engage their little spirits. And another philosophy point of Montessori is that children are taught one-to-one or very small groups to with one teacher, and that the scope and sequence is provided for you based on the Montessori research that was the research that was developed by Montessori, Dr. Montessori. So a child can be working on, for instance, like practical life. They're working on all the skills that they need to be able to just live life. And those have an objective of learning how to read and write. So we're learning how to spoon and tweeze, and we're learning how to carry something carefully and clean up after ourselves. When I taught early childhood, I taught 3 to 6 year olds, and the joy of it was that after about 2 to 3 weeks of being in the classroom in our Montessori environments, children would come back, or parents would come back and say, my child is sweeping up. And like, they want to do the dishes. They want to put away their things. Like, they're folding their own clothes. What are you doing? And how can I make this happen more? And I invite them into the classroom to see what it is that we're doing and how.
Well, one of the things that Holy Cross that still, my kids still remember from kindergarten is the teacher, the Karen Mateka, who's now their headmaster or headmistress, I guess. She's been there forever. She would take them into the home. She had about 8 or 9, and she'd take them into her home and teach them how to properly sit at the table.
Yes.
And, this is a fork, this is a knife, this is where it goes. You're supposed to use a napkin, you put your nap, whatever. And they remember that still, and they're in their 30s.
Yeah.
When I was a little kid, do I remember anything about kindergarten? I remember the first day of school, they said, here's how I do the number 1. And they just did a line. And I'm like, who doesn't know that? But apparently they have to teach you that.
Right.
And I could read kind of well for a young age. And so when I was done with whatever we were doing, they'd hear Allard go sit in the corner. And I'd read this book. I remember it was on dinosaurs. Another one was on weather. And I'm like, I thought that's what education was, actually. But that's a long time ago. Over, and I was in, where was I then? I was at Farmers Branch. So that's a long time ago. But anyway, that's off the topic. The thing about the Montessori education that I understand is, though, it also requires a lot for the teacher as well, because, the teacher has to be really engaged.
Yes.
It's not like, here, do this, and I'm going to read my magazine.
Right. No, a teacher in a Montessori environment is pivotal, because we actually there are 2 roles that we take: the role of observer and the role of facilitator. So when I'm talking about facilitating, I'm talking about the lessons and supporting the environment, supporting the children for what they need to be learning. When I'm talking about observing, to know what to teach a child, you have to observe what they're already doing to know, are they ready for the next lesson? Do they need more support with that lesson? Is there something missing that I haven't addressed yet or given them yet? And in fact, they're in the Montessori community, a lot of teachers or guides is what they call them in Montessori, will tell you that the role of observer is almost more important than the teaching, because the whole point is to reach the child where they are, to push and encourage them to move forward.
Yeah, and that's what I understand is one of the biggest differences. But again, I do know that at BISD and other schools, even if they don't call it Montessori, they incorporate some of those techniques and
absolutely,
and they incorporate the concepts and things of that nature, which is a great thing. So what do you offer that's different from BISD? Because BISD, doesn't cost. There is a fee involved.
There is a fee involved, yes. One thing I think to consider when choosing a school is the community. At Kindred Montessori Academy, our mission is to create a community of learners, yes, but a community of families. And so if you're looking for a place where you as the parent knows who your children are going to school with and their families, and that's where Kindred is different. It's when I thought about opening up this school, there was many reasons why I did it, but one of them was the fact that I worked at my children's school, and I still didn't know the families of my children's students, like in their classrooms, because I wasn't their teacher. And so there were times when my children would say, "Can I have so-and-so over?" And I'm like, I don't know their family. And that, as a mom, like my kids wanted to have their friends over. Of course they did. And so that's one of my missions and goals, is that we have a family, a community, an environment where families are coming together and building relationships together. And that when your second grader says, "Can I have Susie over?" you're able to say yes, because you know exactly that family and you're comfortable with them.
Sure. That's one of the values I had at Holy Cross, is that over the years, we stayed there a little while. We got to know the families pretty well. And even now, we still know them. And,
Right.
And even, I don't know if my kids still run around with those young
Sure.
kid friends, but they remember them. And I know exactly what you're talking about. And I know at the lower ages, younger ages, maybe is a better way to put it, they try to incorporate that in other schools, but it's very difficult because you got 22 kids. And,
Right.
And you got all sorts of different situations and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes the only time you meet the parents is at open house. And I could tell you, as a high school teacher, open house, I'd play cards, because there was not a lot of attendance for the high school level. They're
Right.
like, I've been doing this for 12 years, and if he ain't graduated, that's his problem. But I understand exactly what you're talking about, because if you get a group that starts off in like kindergarten and they work their way up to your upper grades, it isn't just the kids that'll make connections, it'll be those families.
Right. Yeah. Another difference with us is assessments. If you are frustrated with the public school and in terms of assessments, which is another reasons why I wanted to step away, then at Kindred, we are using assessments for developmental reasons, for curriculum reasons, to know what to teach children, to know where they're at. But we do not have to correlate with the standardized assessments that the state does. And that was important for me, because so we can teach the depth of curriculum and not to the depth of testing.
That's a big one. Of course, they don't test in kindergarten, but they do it third grade, right?
They do it third grade. We do. There are several assessments all the way from pre-K up.
Right, but they're not.
That they have to do.
But are they mandated by the state?
They are. Yeah, pre-K and kindergartners have to take several different assessments throughout the school year.
I'm trying to think, what a kid taking
On a computer.
like a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old, what kind of test they'd be taking?
It's
square root of pi. I mean,
no. Thankfully, they're a little bit more developmentally appropriate than that. But it does take a lot of class time, even in those younger grade levels, to do those things. And I am very much in, like, I can't talk.
You're doing fine.
Data is important. I actually can be a data nerd. And so I think data is important, but I think that there's a developmentally appropriate way to assess children and to gain that data for the knowledge that teachers need. And, taking a month out of the school year 2 or 3 times a year to get that data because there's 25 students in a classroom isn't really benefiting. And so, that is one of the other things that I really am guiding us toward is teaching the skills that the children need. One thing that I see is a lack of critical thinking skills, a lack of the ability to problem solve through things. And so that is something that will be a goal of my teachers and myself as we develop our curriculum and the way that we plan to teach lessons.
Well, that's interesting also, because you brought up something about developmental testing, things of that nature. What about the parents of a child that has special needs? And not, physical, we can understand how you can overcome those, but how about somebody that, maybe just been diagnosed as autistic or some other situation similar to that? Are you going to be able to accommodate that?
So one thing that I fully believe in is transparency, and also that my mission is to fully educate to the best of our ability every child, which means that if I don't have the services or the support staff to be able to service a child, then I will have to say, and that Kindred's not the place for them. So it'll be on a case by case basis.
Right.
I welcome families to please contact me, ask the questions. If they have information that might be able to help me understand better what their child needs developmentally or like you said, medically. We don't have an on-staff nurse right now. So, I wouldn't be comfortable taking on someone who needed medical attention often. Because there are facilities, including Burleson ISD, that have wonderful special education departments. And if my goal is to reach every child within our school to the best of our ability.
Right. And I was thinking, in a small school, it'd be very difficult to be able to differentiate that education because, in the high schools and schools I taught in is like this was expected, and so we had the staff to take care of it. And if I had kids with learning disabilities like dyslexia or something like that, we had a place to send them to help them get better at it. Same thing with English as second language. All these other things that a school of that size can offer, but you're a small school. And so really you have to, right now, given the constraints of your budget and whatnot, you're going to have to really specialize in just those kids that need maybe more traditional education, the best way to put it.
Right.
But also the thing about it is you get like a room full of 4-year-olds. There's some that are still, trying to get potty trained, and you got other 4-year-olds that should be working for NASA, and so you're going to be, you're going to have some real problems in that area.
Well, they're wonderful challenges.
Challenges maybe is a better word than problems, but I'm just thinking, oh man, Lord, because I remember this is a long, long time ago. My wife and I taught 4-year-old Sunday school, and I'm still taking boys to the bathroom and teaching them how to sit on the toilet, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So one beautiful thing that we have had the ability to do is a partnership with Rooted Life Therapy. Miss Kathy is going to be, or does already host her therapy sessions on our campus in our building. And she specializes in really reading differences, especially dyslexia. And so she will be one of the enrichment partners that parents will be able to sign up with to support their child. So if they already know that their child has a reading difference or a dyslexia need, then that is an opportunity at our campus that, a lot of smaller private schools, a lot of smaller schools don't have. And I'm really excited to work with Miss Kathy, and I know that her services are fabulous.
Well, because I remember, again, I could read at a very early age, but not everybody my age could.
Right.
And so you have a much wider range of abilities than I saw as an 11th and 12th grade teacher, because by then, people leveled out and whatever else. But it's just that to me is one of the biggest challenges.
Yeah.
And you also probably, in some cases, particularly at the youngest levels, dealing with separation from their mama from the first time ever. And because I remember the trauma my wife went through when she dropped her kids off, my kids too, by the way.
Yeah.
So dropped the kids off at school for the first time. Now, after a couple of years, like, get out of the car. It was a lot easier.
Yeah, it gets easier as you do it.
Easier.
Yeah.
When does the first day of your session start?
So we are hoping for August 12th to be the first day.
Getting close.
It's getting very close, yes. And because we do have toddlers, and even having an after-school care program, the state of Texas, the licensing portion does come into play. And so I will know better what our first day will be as I work through the licensing portion of that. And I can't announce a first day of school just yet.
Right.
But we are working diligently and with a lot of effort to get the first day of school started soon.
If I may make a suggestion, I would follow the BISD's calendar fairly close.
Yes.
Okay, because at Holy Cross, they didn't start till 3 weeks after school started for me. So we had
tough.
we had a 3-week gap in daycare and all this other stuff and schooling, and even my son was in the 3rd grade, my daughter's in kindergarten, and we had 3 weeks. My wife and I had to scramble.
Yeah.
Or they'd have, a holiday this day where I had, it was a regular day of school for us. So, that kind of convenience might make it easier.
Yeah, so parents can go online to our website and look at our calendar already.
And the website is?
Which is www.kindredmontessoriacademy.org.
Can you look that up, Josh? He's already on it. What am I talking about?
Of course he is.
All right.
Yeah. So you can go on there and find our calendar along with a lot of other information. We are a nonprofit, so there's information about our nonprofit and about our school, about our board of directors, as well as our programs. The reason I mention it is because our calendar is very similar to the traditional public school calendars in the area. We are also working towards accreditation this school year. And when you are working toward accreditation as a private school, as well as possibly being an education service vendor for the vouchers, you have to have very similar, here it is, hours that the public school has, because the TRS has stated TEA has stated what they think is the best for schools for hours. So our our elementary program, first, second, and third, they're 8 to 3:45. We do have a little bit more Mondays off, but I am offering enrichment programs that day. So parents that are working full time who still need their child to go 5 days a week, they'll have an opportunity to be at Kindred that day still. If you're, you have a more flexible job, then your child maybe gets to stay home with you on more often on Mondays.
Now, you mentioned the board of directors.
Yes, we are searching.
You're still searching? Okay,
Yes.
I was wondering if you already had everybody lined up.
I have my treasurer is lined up. I do need my board president will be stepping away as soon as I can find another person. So we are looking for board members. I would like to have a bigger board than 3 people.
Oh,
so
sure.
If anybody is interested in serving on a nonprofit board or being both an advisory board and the governance board would be fabulous. We're looking for people that love education and want to be a part of new opportunities.
Now, on this website we're looking at here, they could find out about the fees, right?
So I actually don't think I have the tuition fees on here, but if you scroll down to contact us, you can fill out the information to contact me.
There you go. It's all this stuff.
Yeah, it's not too far. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep. And then also back up at the top, it said book a tour, find out if, tell us if you're interested. If you book a tour, it's going to go straight to my calendar invite where you can, or scheduling, where you can block out what time works best for you. There's the
button, yeah.
Yep. So.
Well, so this is the best way. I didn't really want you to tell us your fees on the air because I know that's still a nebulous thing.
Yeah.
I wasn't really asking for that, but they need to contact you to find out.
Yes.
Is there, besides just a straight up fee for entry and whatever else, do they need uniforms? Do they need certain supplies, things of that nature?
We're going to do a dress code, not a uniform. Part of the Montessori philosophy believes in children showing their own character, basically. And so, I just am going to ask that children wear appropriate clothes for being on the floor a lot and for the weather outside, but also, bring a sweater because it could be cold inside. When they get older, or even really younger nowadays, like graphics need to be appropriate for the environment, things like that.
So no T-shirts with Budweiser on it?
Right.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Just to make it sure.
Let's stay away from those.
Yeah.
But a uniform in the sense of like, I have to go to Walmart and buy the uniform college shirts. No. I'm not going to do that.
How about security?
Security is really great. It's one of the blessings of being at First Christian Church. They have, the whole entire building is locked all day. They have a doorbell with a camera that I have access to in my office that I can see who it is. I can let them in, or I can walk around the door and then talk to them from the door. The hallways have cameras. Each classroom has a camera. I think that. And then also the playgrounds are fenced off, of course. So, and then the church itself, the secretary has to do the same thing. If you are asking to get into the church office, which
Right.
we have 2 separate doors, so there's a learning center door and there's a church office door. And if you're trying to access the church and that environment, then they have their own door and she has her own doorbell and everything.
I tried to get into my church on a weekday about 2 or 3 months ago, and the doors are all locked because we have children on campus. Had to buzz in. Had to go into the office and get, some sort of sticker. And like, don't you know who I am? I've been a member here 30 years. I tied that gummit. Oh, and then the secretary walked in. Oh, Brad, how you doing?
Right.
We'll see you.
Right.
It was, but you're just a young lady doing her job, and I had no problem with that. But that's a big deal. And, and again, when I go back to my youth, it's like kindergarten time, playground. We'll see you, and the teacher go have a smoke or something. Maybe a couple of shots from the flask.
Now.
I don't know. Now, but back then they may have somebody sitting around, but they weren't paying a lot of attention to us. But now it's in a different world, and everybody pays a lot better attention. So security is not going to be an issue.
No.
As far as the K through 3, I know you're trying to get as many students as you can.
Sure.
And if you don't get enough, you may have to say maybe next year.
Right.
Are you set to go in any of the grades level yet?
We have a lot of interest, a lot of interest in the toddler and the early childhood classrooms. I can see us filling up quickly. I do not have a waiting list yet, which if you go to several of the early childhood centers around me, they have waiting lists that are very long. So, families need to reach out because I can see our classrooms getting full very fast.
Well, my thinking is that more than likely the K and pre-K and maybe even the first grade will fill up, but the second and third grade may be a little more difficult because you'll be taking a kid out of their environment
Exactly.
and moving them to your environment, which is
It's a lot.
But my guess is you're going to do like Holy Cross. I would keep bringing them up because they all have some similar attitudes and similar environments. And they started out, and it just as the younger grades got older,
aged in.
Yeah, that's when the upper grades started filling in.
Yeah.
And so, this is a long-term project. I mean, it'd be nice
absolutely.
to think that when you open up in a month or so that you're going to have full classes all across the board, but more than likely it's going to be the younger grades first.
Right. And I agree with that. And and you have the right idea with the philosophy too. To take a student that is in second or third grade and drop them into a Montessori environment, it actually it can disrupt not just the environment but the child's learning due to the fact that there's a lot of prerequisite lessons that build on all of the other works that they'll be doing in second and third grade. So in reality, I completely agree. I think, if a child's already been in Montessori and they're transferring to us as a first, second, or third grader, that's different. I do have the experience that I would need to build a first grader up in those prerequisites. And so I think it's going to be something that's on, like I said before, a case-by-case basis, basically. But I do see our toddler room filling up, and I do see our early childhood classroom filling up.
And to the parents out there listening, or will be listening at some future date, I'll tell you, as a parent who put their 2 children in a similar environment, did they adjust when they went to public school later? And they did just fine. Particularly my son, who's very adaptable. But he went from a very small 5th grade class to Kerr Kerr Middle School. He had 6 times more kids in his Texas history class than he had his entire Holy Cross class.
Wow.
All right. And so, but he, it was an adjustment, but he handled it pretty well. My daughter after the 3rd grade, went to Stribling, and she adjusted socially just fine, but she had to catch up a little bit because whatnot. And we had a staff member, a friend of mine, Keisha Basham, if you know who I'm talking about, who really took an interest in Sarah. And she was the assistant principal at the time, and she really helped Sarah through those more difficult times, you might say.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if I were a parent, and I had no experience with this, I'd be worried about, going from a small environment to a big environment. And all I can say is kids are a whole lot more adaptable than you think.
Right, absolutely.
They make friends easier. They move, it was, I don't remember my son having any real trauma going to a massive situation. I mean, it was an adjustment, but it wasn't like he was needing therapy for it. So to the parents that are listening to this, if you're concerned that there's going to be some sort of brutal adjustment once they go to a larger environment or to a public environment, it's not nearly as bad as one might think. My daughter took a little longer.
Yeah.
It took within 3 or 4 weeks at Stribling, she was fine, and she had made friends, and like I said, had somebody looking out for her, and all that. But I would just say to the parents, that's not really going to be an issue.
Yeah.
In terms of adjustment, they'll be fine.
Well, and I, as a mom myself, I have those same concerns. My daughter is moving from Montessori into a public traditional classroom for next school year. I have a 3rd grader, a 5th grader, and a 6th grader. So my 5th and 6th graders are going to the traditional classroom setting for next year. And, I think those are normal feelings to have. And it's about the support that you provide your child. If you enter into that situation with positivity and support, then they're more likely to also feel comfortable too.
Which system are you putting them in?
Joshua ISD is where we're.
Good school.
Yeah, we're zoned there. That's where we're.
A very good system.
It's yes, we're excited about it. They've been to bigger schools a lot, so we're excited to try a smaller district as well. My son is, he went and he researched his middle school all by himself and came to us and said all of these things programs and events and things like that they have, and I was like, well, yeah, of course you can, he did all of the work, so we were proud of him for that. And then my daughter is socially I think she needs to be in an environment with more.
There does come a point where the class is too small.
Absolutely.
And really, this level that you're dealing with, they benefit the most from this kind of education. But they, if you were like a 11th grader in a class of about 6, it's not quite the same thing.
Right.
And but this is a good level to have a class of about 8 or 9.
Yeah.
And so it's a good deal. Because when I had schedules in class, I'd have 6 classes, and I always had one that has very, very few because that class time conflicted with band and football or whatever else, and I'd have like 9 or 10, and you could really tell the difference because you think, oh, that'd be a great environment for discussions.
Not always.
No, not if they're all introverts, and I'm, so it could be a very long hour, and so that's a really good thing. So as far as again, let's kind of sum up a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm a parent. I'm interested in doing this. What should I do next?
You can find us on Facebook or on the website. I'm on Instagram, but I'm more prevalent on Facebook. Send me a DM. You can call us. Our number is 682-255-5492.
One more time.
682-255-5492.
Okay.
That sends you directly to the school. And then contact me. I will be the person that you talk to personally. We can schedule a tour. You can find out more on our website, like I said before. And I'm excited to see more of you.
Well, you say the target date's August 12th, but if it isn't quite ready, then it'll be later, obviously. But I guess you'll give the parents plenty of heads up.
Oh yeah, I'm informing people as often as I can.
Your poor husband. He must be. You must be pen pals because I'm sure you're pretty busy, right?
I am actually. It's funny when people ask me that. My husband just recently stepped aside from a band that he was in, and so now we actually have more time together because instead of 3 jobs, he only has 2. So this weekend was our second weekend, I think, in over a year and a half that he didn't have 1 or 2 gigs, and we both just looked at each other and were like, "Thank you, because Lord, because we needed some time together." But he recently said, he's just joined. He's joined the mission. He's joined a part of it. He asked me, when you have the funds to hire a social media person, that's what I want to do for you, and. So I thought it would just be wonderful.
Well, I neglected to ask this earlier. The teachers.
Oh yeah.
Are they need to be certified by the state of Texas?
So they don't, because of the private schools. You don't have to. You do have to have a certain amount of child development hours and things like that. But the teachers that I have hired, they are either prior certified teachers or they have their certification now. They are all interested and willing to become Montessori certified. I'm not requiring that this year of my teachers. I feel like teachers need at least a year or so
That's right.
to really dive into what it is that they're doing. This is a new thing for them, then I'm not going to pigeonhole them into something. So the 3 or 4 teachers that I'm hired or interested in hiring, they understand that there's some flexibility there. I want them to kind of flow a little bit through to find where they are most comfortable, and then we'll discuss from their Montessori certification. There are good programs out there and webinars for teachers now, and so that's what we're focused on. We're finding really strong online programs or webinars that so the teachers can get the foundation that they need.
The security background checks?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Yeah, they have to have a background check. That's required.
Sure.
Volunteers that come on campus will have to have a background check.
Well, good. I mean, because I'm stressing the security issue. Because,
I think it's important.
Well, we all know the stories.
Yeah.
And so we just making sure that the parents out there that listen to this or will listen to this are assured by the fact that they're putting their child in not just an academically good environment,
Right.
but also a safe environment
Absolutely.
and all this. And so that's a really good
Along
thing.
those lines, we have to do the same emergency drills that anywhere else does. So
The fire drills.
the fire drills, the
I remember.
lockdowns, the shelter-in-place drills, all of those have to be done. That's required by state licensing, and so those will be done too.
Even though it's a private school, there is a lot of state oversight.
Yeah.
I mean, not so much in content or curriculum, but in procedures and
safety
environment,
and- yes.
safety, and all that.
Yeah.
So, well, Josh, if you'd run the radio ads, I guess, and also the nonprofit ads, let's do those after the radio. Sorry, I've got him bouncing around. Sorry, bud. All right. Anyway, 88.3 The Journey will be promoting this show. So I don't know if you know Rich Hooper, but he does 88.3. It's a radio station out of Keene and Christian music, and he's a really, really impressive man. I really enjoy talking with him.
Fabulous.
Also tonight on community radio, my radio station, he'll be on at 6 and at 1 tomorrow, and so people can hear it if driving home or whatever else. I got also great hits of the 70s at 4 o'clock. I like to do some at 4. Yeah, I know. My generation. You probably weren't even a toddler even then. Little 70s, but anyway.
No, late 80s.
Late 80s, yeah. Well, I got some of that tomorrow. So all
There you
right,
go.
all
Okay.
right. Anyway, also a few nonprofits are going on. Now you can run the nonprofit ads. All right. We have tomorrow night, they'll have Christmas in July over at the Crowley House of Hope, and it goes on all week. But tomorrow night they have a special deal with Elizabeth Becker, and she's going to be. It's kind of like an open house, but also as an opportunity for y'all to, not just to find out about House of Hope, but what you could do for it as well. Because I was talking to her, and I've been talking to Debbie Beeman at Promises and Amber Case at the Harvest House in Burleson, and it's tough right now. There's a lot of need, and sometimes summertime things get a little bit slim because you don't have school food drives and things of that nature, so it can get kind of tight. So drop by the Crowley House of Hope. Also, we have back to school, the Crowley House of Hope. Now, if you want to be interested in this, get school supplies and things of that nature, you need to register because they don't have endless amount of supplies. So you need to register with the Crowley House of Hope if you want to take advantage of the school supplies, backpacks and pens and pencils or whatever else they got going on. So give them a holler over there and get signed up. It's, there's a lot of need for that as well, I can tell you. Also, we have one more thing for Crowley House of Hope, August 2nd from 10 to 2 over at Alley-Cats. They're going to have an event over there with, tattoos and popsicles, not permanent tattoos, so don't get excited. Face painting, the whole thing. And so they're going to be giving away game cards and things of that nature. So it's also a dunk tank. You can dunk either the Burleson PD chief, which I don't know if I guess it'd be Billy, but also the Mayor Fletcher, which will be worth the dunk. I had him on the show the Tuesday after that, so I'll be able to hear all about that. So basically, you get a $10 gift card by bringing supplies and things of that nature. Also, some other things going on. Roundup for Writers, Friday, August 1st at the River Ranch at the Stockyards. This is for Wings of Hope. They were on the show about a week ago. They had to do a lot of stuff for equine therapy for people with developmental issues, mental and emotional needs, things of that nature. And it's a really great thing they do. And so you can check out another. Also, we do have another Christmas in July, and that'll be 26th of July for the Next Step Women's Center. Megan and Summer will be on next week, and we'll talk all about that. So there's a lot going on, even in the summertime.
Well, and Wings of Hope is looking for a ranch hand.
Yes, they are.
So
they were talking. You know them, do you?
I do know them. Yes,
okay.
yes.
Well, they were talking about that at the show, so they still need a ranch hand.
They still need a ranch hand.
Yeah.
Yep. Part-time to full-time, Saturdays required.
Yeah.
We love them. So.
Oh, really? So you know them? How have you come across them?
I haven't gotten out to the ranch yet, but just over the course of Facebook, really, like the social media is wonderful to grow businesses.
There it is. We're hiring.
I also, there we go. I also bank at First Financial, and they some of their bankers are a part of Wings of Hope. So.
Is that right?
Yep.
As far as my schedule, I was going to do a show tomorrow, but I'm going to the dentist this afternoon.
know, and I hope you feel better.
I do today. Friday and Saturday was rough. I mean, tooth pain is the worst.
Not fun.
Yesterday wasn't so bad. Today I'm fine. And so I'm thinking, do I need to go? No, I need to go.
Yeah, still go.
Yeah, I'm going to go. I'm going to use Dr. James T. Denton. He's a former student of mine, the Burleson guy. So Alex will be happy. Alex Phillips will be happy I'm staying local, even for my medical needs.
Good.
So I get, but Jim is a good doctor and a good man. So I'm going to be, it'll be a nice reunion. I haven't seen him in a little while. I've known his parents forever. So there you go. But anyway, I
love the strong community here.
Oh, well, I do. I've been here, teaching here since '88, and I moved here in '91 because I wanted to live in the community which I taught in.
Yeah.
And when the position opened up at the high school, I said, this is it. All right. And I'm glad I have, because I mean, it is a community, and the nonprofit community is phenomenal here. Also, that reminds me.
Yeah, we're getting our feet wet in that.
You are a nonprofit.
We are a nonprofit,
okay.
Yes.
Well, on September 25th, I believe the day, we have North Texas Giving Day, and all of us meet.
I've registered.
But also the show will be at Gina's.
Okay,
and
awesome.
So you need we'll put you down. What'll happen is it'll be about, all your nonprofit colleagues, shall we say, will come in, and they'll do about like an 8 to 9 minute spiel, and it's really touching because they're all in Gina's, and they're all hanging out together, eating pizza.
Yeah.
And I got a table set up. Taylor sets up a table. That is, if we can get Taylor, around, right, Josh?
Good luck with that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe you might be doing it then.
I guess
we do a mobile studio, and just
that's
one
so
after
fun.
another, and it's so
it'll come before we know it.
Yeah, so you might want to put down for that.
Yeah, I will.
Do you want to do this again sometime?
I would love to. It's been wonderful.
Probably in about 3 or 4 months.
Okay.
So by that time because I know next few
we will
months
have
will be
started,
busy, and you'll have an idea.
Yeah.
Where it's going and whatnot.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's quite all right.
Maybe next time I'll leave a different impression.
No. You did great. See,
Thank you so much.
No, you really did, because you come in. I know, like a lot of people for the first time, they think, oh no, there's all these critics out there. No. It's a family podcast kind of thing, neighborhood podcast.
It's been wonderful.
No, you did great. You did very well. You
Thanks,
presented yourself and your organization quite well. And as far as this is what I like to do in the show. I could bellyache about politics. I was going to do that tomorrow, but I don't know what kind of shape I'll be in.
You'll probably have more toothache than bellyache.
Yeah, that's right. I'll do that some other time. There'll be plenty to yell about. Thank you, Josh, for being so quick on the keyboards.
Yes.
Anytime.
That's when he gets the big money. And so we'll see y'all. Let's see. I'll make sure I have my guests properly announced for next week. Next week I have the Center for ASD with Lisa Boltinghouse, and then the day after that, the Tuesday after that, I have Next Step, and I always enjoy them. We got a lot of nonprofits the rest of this month because there's, like I said, there's a lot going on, and the need in the summertime is pretty high. So we'll see what we got. All right. So we'll see y'all hopefully next week. And it depends if I'm laid up or not.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.